I recently spent some time on the set of Push and Pray, a short film / music video written by Yolanda Williams as a musical companion piece for Pain to Passion, an upcoming anthology compiled by Nakisha and DeAnna Bookert. I had the opportunity to talk with some of the book's co-authors, as well as talk with Yolanda about the process of turning her screenplay into a music video. I also spent some time with Nakisha and DeAnna trying to find out how a simple book became a global movement designed to help women turn pain into passion. Yolanda, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you doing, Michael?
Pretty good. Wanted to talk to you briefly. Tell me a little bit about what's going on today. What's happening here today?
Well, today is the culmination of a lot of effort and a lot of heart. As you know, the Pain to Passion movement, we have the anthology. Our compilers were DeAnna, Bookert, and Nakisha King. And when Nakisha approached me, she told me that she had written a song, and it was actually picked up by a record label. And it was significant because it was related to the book, the anthology that's being released. So she wanted to see if maybe we could get together and do a short film / music video to highlight the purpose for the book as well as the song being written.
Okay. Now, you guys basically wrote a short movie for the release of a book, an anthology. That's pretty rare. So tell me a little bit about that. How did that all come to be?
Well, in the Pain to Passion anthology, it's a group of 17 women, and we all got together with the assistance of DeAnna and Nakisha to speak to the world about things that have given us tremendous pain in the past and how we were able to release it so that we could chase our passions in now, the future. And it was a cathartic movement, not only for us, but we're hoping that it will touch the readers and the viewers of the video.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about your background. Was this your first short story, or what? You've been doing this a while. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, actually, this was my first screenplay that's actually gone into production. I have 1,000,001 back at the house, but this is the first one that actually entered production. And I was so excited when Nakisha approached me concerning this project. And my first or initial thought was, okay, how are we going to do this? There's 17 women sharing their stories with us, but we have a music video. And if I try to tell each of the 17 stories, it may become a little confusing for the viewers. And we certainly don't want to do that. So after we sat down and brainstormed a little bit, we came up with the concept of, I offered to her, let's tell your story. Let's tell DeAnna's story, and I'll wrap my story and the other lady's stories in the two of you. And then we proceed that way. Okay. So that's how it started. But as far as my background, this is my first screenplay. I'm working towards my master's right now in English creative writing and with an emphasis in screenwriting. And I should be done by March of 2017. But if anyone needs me or is interested in contacting me, they could do so at www.creativescribes.com.
Yolanda, thank you for taking the time to talk with me today.
Okay, thank you so much, Michael.
Stephanie, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
I want to start off. Tell me how you got involved with this project.
Well, living in Columbia and going to a lot of empowerment events with a lot of women in the community, I met DeAnna and Nakisha, and I noticed that they were asking women to submit an essay or a personal story about their pain and how they turned it into a passion. So I was at a women's empowerment event, and Coulter came up to me and persuaded me to do it. And I said, okay, I'll submit an essay, and I just got the ball rolling. And I'm so glad I did it. It's very, very enlightening. I enjoyed it.
Briefly, without giving too much away, tell me a little bit about your story.
Well, my story is just a snippet about how I transitioned to triumph from my childhood through my teens, adult, and how I tried to turn my life around after the age of 35, how I empowered myself and how I got through low self-esteem. And I did that with my daughter, who helped me to understand my worth and value. And unfortunately, my daughter passed away from a neurological disorder that affects girls. So I was able to immerse myself into her and to take the pain away from myself and transfer it into my daughter, which we built a life together. And I was able to just really just blossom through knowing and getting to raise my daughter before she passed away. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
DeAnna, briefly, tell me a little bit about your story.
Well, my story is based on early on childhood. I was witnessing domestic violence, being brought up in a dysfunctional household, dealing with substance abuse issues, my parents, and then growing up into a teenager thinking that abuse was a form of love, and finding myself getting into a domestic violence situation myself, and then also experiencing sexual abuse, and just a whole lot of different crazy things happen, and wanting to commit suicide, and just find a moment in my life where I was able to forgive my abusers and decided that it was time for me to help others find forgiveness, help them find forgiveness, and live their life.
Okay, thank you for sharing that with me. Before I let you go, I just want to know, do you guys have a website or phone number or any other projects coming up that you want to share?
Yes. I have a couple of projects coming up. EEL movement is a movement based on substance abuse, it's based on domestic violence and sexual abuse survivors. And I also have a children's poetry, creative writing book coming out with other children that participated in this project.
When can we expect that?
June of this year. Yes.
Stephanie?
I am working on my next book. My first book was entitled The Best Girlfriends Ever, based on my daughter Tiffany and her 3 best girlfriends. So my next book is going to be based on another story geared toward girls. So I should expect that out next year around Mother's Day. So I enjoy writing and illustrating, and that's my passion. So that should be getting up and going somewhere in the near future.
Can we find both you guys on Facebook?
Yes.
Yes. You can find me on Facebook.
All right. Thank you guys for sharing.
Thank you so much.
Helena, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm all right. Excited to be here. Want to start off. Tell us a little bit about your story.
My story. Oh wow. How do I put that as little? But been through a lot, faced a lot. When you've had to face a diagnosis of an illness that you know nothing about. I was diagnosed with lupus, and a lot of people don't understand, and even my family didn't understand, that this was just not a cold, it was not a rash, it was not the flu, it was pain. It was constant pain, chronic pain, and it was debilitating pain. It took me away from my senior year in high school, and a lot of the things that I wanted to do in life. So I was confused, I was in pain, I just didn't know what to do. So of course I was going from doctor to doctor to find a solution, to find a cure. At least that's what I thought. So.
Why did you decide it was important to tell your story?
I think there comes a time when you finally realize that you need to share. And when you share, something internally helps you feel good about it, because you're sharing and you're helping someone else. So me finally saying, you know what, I'm going to tell my story was like a release to me. It was an opportunity to say, you know what, I've been through this. Look at where I'm at now. Help somebody else by sharing your story. And being able to take a moment and actually write down what you were feeling then compared to how you're feeling now, oh my goodness, it makes such a big difference. It makes such a big difference. It's a form of therapy for you. It's a form of therapy for you. And what I'm hoping is that my story helps other folks that are going through that type of experience, like lupus or a chronic pain or a chronic illness, realize that, you know what, you can make it through this. You can get to that point where you're smiling every day, smiling through the pain, and using that pain as power to push you through to that next level in life and learn something from that experience. So me sharing my story was just an opportunity for me to help somebody else.
Now, do you have any aspirations to do any more literary projects, or you got anything else big coming up?
I do. This is a great exercise in learning. I wrote my book, Diary of a Bad Lupus Patient, which I have an opportunity to share some of the experiences I went through when I was first diagnosed with lupus. And I'm actually looking at writing a family lupus series. For example, my Nana has lupus. And being the fact that I've had lupus all these years and I had an opportunity to work full time and travel, I'm also writing a book about traveling with lupus so I can share my tips and things when it comes to dealing with lupus on that level. So I'm really excited about that.
All right. Helena, thank you for taking the time to share your story with us.
Thank you.
Coulter, how are you doing today?
Great, thanks.
Can you briefly tell me how you got involved with this project?
Well, this is my second book, and my last book had 25 authors of women, and when I was asked about being in another book with other women, I couldn't pass it up.
A little briefly, without giving too much away, tell me a little bit about your story.
Well, this book is about my second divorce, and many people have heard my story, my friends, not the public, and my friends have said, you have got to put that story in a book because nobody would ever believe you survived that.
Jennifer, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Briefly, tell me a little bit about your story.
My story is about my journey to motherhood and how my husband and I, we prayed during our wait. And we had to make sure to really just not really focus on what was happening in our life, but we just had to make sure that we pray about it. And that was our journey to motherhood.
Do any of you guys have any other projects coming up, Jennifer?
Yes, I have another book that's coming up in July, and it's going to be about the women on social media. So Empowered Women of Social Media is the name of the book.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, very interested in
Yes,
that.
I'm excited.
Coulter, any project coming up?
Well, actually, I do have another book coming out, and this one is going to be not all different women telling their story. It's going to be me telling the story of 25 women I interviewed going through their divorce and what they learned. I take them through the journey of their divorce and self-discovery of what they learned and how they can take that and help other women going through the same process.
Okay. Thank you guys for taking time to tell us about your story today.
Thank you so much.
Nakisha, DeAnna, how you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Nakisha, I wanted to start off with you. If you would, tell me tell me a little bit about the project and how it got started.
Okay, well, it's the P2P project, and P2P stands for Pain to Passion. And it got started because my family and I went through a traumatic experience of being homeless. I have lupus. My husband got fired from his job. We lost our home and just lost everything. And after speaking with my good friend here, DeAnna, I realized that my pain wasn't the only one that was going on. Everybody has pain, but everyone, as women, we try to be strong, show our family that we're strong, show our kids that we're strong. So we decided to get together and just not make it two people's movement or one person movement. We started to make it a global movement. So we came together and started the P2P movement. And we're doing a book, an anthology with 16 women. We're doing a radio show called the P2P Live Show. It's on Bold Radio Station. And we're just making this thing global to empower, enlighten, and encourage other women that are just like us.
Okay. Now, tell me a little bit about how you decided or how you picked the women's stories who are contained in this project.
They came to us. They contacted DeAnna, they contacted myself, and they said, hey, we see you promoting this movement. What is this about? I'm a writer, I'm an author, I have a story I want to tell. I've always wanted to tell my story, or something to that fact. And then they came to us, and they wanted to put their stories in, and the ones that actually made their payment to have a chapter, there's the ones that are in the book. We started off with 50, now we have 16. Yes.
Okay, DeAnna, tell me a little bit about, this is essentially almost crowdfunding for literary works.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about how the process works, what it's like, how many pages do you have to write, do you get one chapter, two? Tell me a little bit about the process.
Well, the beauty behind the project is an anthology. So it gives authors who are kind of like on the beginning cuffs of writing an opportunity to kind of get their feet wet. So each author gets one chapter, which is about 2,000 words. Some may fall just a little short of that. And it's just the process of beginning to put thoughts, feelings down on paper. And it actually leads to a lot of the authors writing a full book on their story. So it's almost like an entry point. It's an introduction. They begin to tell their story. They begin to feel some of the emotions again, and they want to write a full book on it.
I know you do a lot of work with women empowerment. When you read these stories, are there certain stories you're looking for versus other stories? How do you kind of decide which stories you want to go in the book?
I think you said the key thing. What's that story that's really going to empower the next woman to really share her story? And the title of the book is Pain to Passion. So those individuals, those authors that wrote their story, that was able to fully articulate the pain that they dealt with, which a lot of women deal with, depression, rejection, disappointment. But how did they turn that into something that they're passionate about? How did they turn that to a business? How did they turn it to where they're now writing other books and encouraging other women? They're going around speaking. So those are the stories that we're looking for, to be able to encourage other women that, you know what, we all have pain, but it can have purpose, and it can be something that we're very passionate about.
Okay. I know the book is, when is the book scheduled to be released?
On March the 15th, which is also my birthday. I picked that day because, hey, it's my birthday. And it means a lot to me. And then it gave everyone enough time to get their stories in. And we're going to launch the book, our video that we worked on, and everyone is just going to be able to purchase the book on Amazon on that day.
Okay. Now, I know this is your guys' second project. You guys do a lot of work together. Are you thinking about going to do another book as well, or?
Yes.
And I asked that question because I want to know, explain to women out there, how do they go about? What are you looking for? Does the woman have to be this person that's on social media with thousands of followers? Do they have to be at the top of their industry, or could it be just your average person? What are you looking for?
Your everyday average person who has had pain, and as DeAnna said, they want to empower other women, and they want to take that pain that they've gone through and not just stew in it. They've gone through their moment of clarity, release, surrender, to find their bliss, and they want to turn their pain to their purpose or their passion, and they reach out to us and say, hey, I have a story that I want to tell, and I want to impact other women, and we get them started.
And this is an opportunity for that woman that may not feel like she has a voice, but has a very powerful and impactful story. So this isn't necessarily one, not to say that we turn away anyone that has a huge following or that's a speaker, because some of the authors are speakers, but we also have those authors that, one particular author said, I've never written before, but I feel like it's time to share my story. So we're looking for all different levels of writers and women in different industries that really just feel like it's now time for them to share their story and empower other women.
Nakisha, DeAnna, thank you guys for taking the time to sit down with us and talk about the project. If somebody wanted to find out more information, how would they get in contact with you guys?
DeAnna.
Well, you can follow us on P2P Live, all social media sites. We have the Pain to Passion website as well. They can always link up with us on social media, Nakisha King, DeAnna Bookert. We have some other big projects that are coming out, so definitely stay connected and some more details will be available. We are working on some other books for anthology for men as well, so we have other projects that we're working on.
Okay. Ladies, thank you guys for sitting down with me today.
Thank you.
Help! Someone help, please! Oh my God, help! Where you going? Why are you doing this to me? Nothing bad.